Often parents can wonder why teens act the way they do and when they should get worried. Can't really blame them because adolescence is a time of tremendous growth and change for our kids. The kid you think you just figured out has turned into someone else, it can feel like overnight. There are a few things going on that parents can keep in mind. Biologically, their bodies are undergoing change. At the brain level alone, we know that 40% of existing synapses in the brain get pruned as the brain rewires itself to accommodate a maturing prefrontal cortex. Part of these changes result in teens being much more emotionally driven and prone to perceiving threat in neutral situations. At the same time, the part of the brain that helps bring more reasoning to the table and impulse control doesn't fully grow until the mid-20s. Psychologically, teens are also in the process of defining who they are, what constructs their sense of identity. Often this starts by defining who they're not, and parents are the first ones teens differentiate from and push back against. Teens are going to be paying attention to things like finding a sense of belonging, seeking acceptance, building self-acceptance. This shift for parents is tough because we get used to being their go-to person, and it can switch from being their go-to person to argue with and not talk to. With adolescence, the givens we relied on, like assumptions that we know best what to do, that we're on their side, that we can control the environment enough to keep it free from pain, all of that gets called into question. All of a sudden, the focus can go from your instructions and your teen following them to debates about whether your instructions are even worth listening to, or even more common, just no absorption of anything you try to tell them. It can feel like what's going on in their minds is increasingly like a black box that you can't access, and often power struggles ensue. The clearest indicators parents can look to gauge if their teen is in crisis is how they're doing with school, their friendships, and their relationships within the family. If the friend group has been relatively stable and things at school are stable or typical of how they'd normally be, these are all good signs. If they're isolating from friends, if grades are dropping or refusing to attend school, then parents should consider getting their teens some help.